Happy Monday, everyone. This is Martha with Nature Niche. This week, I want to share a really fun spring wildflower, foamflower, with you. The Latin name is Tiarella cordifolia, and it is also known as heartleaf foamflower. And in Michigan, at least, it has a coefficient of conservatism of 9. So when you see this species, you know you're in a really special site, but it's also fairly available in the native plant um, nursery industry. And so you can buy it to plant in your own landscapes as well. It is a native perennial forb that has evolved in deciduous and mixed forests. It's often found in moist microsites and hollows, in springy places, along streams, and in swamps, which are forested wetlands. In Michigan, we're on the western edge of the species' overall range. You can find it in eastern Canada, west to Minnesota, south to Mississippi. It's not in Indiana or Illinois, but um, those other Midwestern states and then the eastern United States would include the species range. And in Michigan, we have it across much of the lower and upper peninsula. And it really is a lovely little woodland wildflower that adds a pretty frothy aesthetic to shade gardens and native woodlands in the spring. It blooms in late April into June in Michigan, and it tolerates at least part to full shade. It grows up to about a foot tall, but often it's lower than that, and it prefers rich, loamy soil with average moisture levels. So it needs to be well drained, but have consistent moisture. It can take a range of pH, acidic to alkaline, but it really likes those soils with good organic matter because of that moisture retentive property. And it may die if it is in too wet of soils during the winter months. This species forms a really nice ground cover. It's not too aggressive. It does spread with time by stolons, underground stems, and it'll fill in with the foliage hugging the ground, which helps suppress weeds and promote the retention of soil moisture. It does play well with others, and here you can see I have it planted with wild geranium and mayapple, ferns, wood poppy, bishop's cap, also known as mitrewort, under some of my mature oak trees. You can use it mass along the borders of woodland with dappled light, or you can interplant it with other shade-loving plants you may already have in place, or along moist streams or ditches where you have dappled shade. It is known to hybridize with plants in the genus Heuchera, alum root, in garden settings. And the foliage is heart-shaped and palmately lobed. It has hairy stems, and those leaves are semi-glossy, and they can have a reddish variegation along the veins. Overall, it can be evergreen too in the southern portion of its range. And in the deciduous portion, so the more northern part of the range, it turns hues of red to bronze in the fall. The spike of starry white flowers, they're in airy racemes that rise above the nice mound of leaves. Sometimes those white flowers are tinged with pink, and they have very long stamens that give that foamy texture, and hence the common name foam flower. They um, can flower about 6 weeks, and at least in the north tend to have leafless flower stems, unlike the similar mitrewort or bishop's cap in the genus Metella, which tends to have paired leaves on the flower stalk. And it can be divided if you want to move this plant around in early fall or spring. And it can be grown from seed, but the seedlings are relatively slow growing. And those can be collected about a month after you see the first flowers in bloom. And that matures from the bottom of the flower stalk up towards the top. And the fruit is capsule with small black seeds inside. The plant is also fairly tolerant of deer and rabbit browse, and it has no known insect or disease problems. This species makes really good early spring pollinator support. It's a great way to do that. And it's a good butterfly nectar plant, and the bees love it too. You can see I had some bumblebees very happy in my front yard um, with this plant, and it's great support for all of those early season bees, bumblebees included, pollinating flies, moths, and butterflies. For those of you who are local to our store, I do have some of this lovely native ground cover left as we run our May native plant sale through the end of this week. And I am expecting more in for our June native plant sale as we celebrate National Pollinators Week. I hope you consider adding this lovely woodland wildflower to your own landscape to help support pollinators. And I'd like to end by dedicating this post to a family member, Kelly Mahar, a quiet soul, a lover of plants. I will think of you and say a prayer for your family every time I step into my garden. Take care. Have a good week.